Hey, everybody. I don't know if it's coming up on your guys' news feeds or whatever you want to call that. When you got as many channels as I got, and I'm running different subscribers on each channel and stuff, I get a lot of different stuff. But there's a they keep talking about this droughts, and it's these lakes are being dropped down to almost nothing or all the way. Uh, Rivers drying up and all this stuff, and it's all bullshit, folks. It's all bullshit. It's all by design. I spent a third of my life living in the desert, which is known as Phoenix, Arizona. There's a valley there. It is desert from hell. I can't remember the farthest. Phoenix was. We always lived out in the eastern part of the valley. Phoenix was as far the far west side as far as I was concerned, and I usually lived in somewhere between Tempe, Mesa, Chandler, Queen Creek, Apache Junction area. Uh, it was cheaper to live there and better place, but it was freaking desert, folks, and you ain't gonna get no more desert than this. There was the only dirt you would have had if it was brought in. The entire landscape was sand on top of bedrock. The whole valley out there. It was so bad, people. I was painting houses while I was out there, and the brand spanking new houses they just built hasn't. They ain't even a month old of having the walls standing and the drywall and electrical wiring, plumbing, and everything in them. They're not even a month standing, and they have cracks big enough I could stick my fingers into it. They're standing on slabs. They're not standing on dirt or anything like that. They're standing on slabs that are standing on sand. And these slabs will crack and break off it quick. All it takes is the sand shifting underneath it. People, they claim that there is no water out there at times. And I tell you, this place is the valley there, the desert, sand on top of bedrock. All the way around it has mountain ranges, north, south, east, and west. They even have mountain ranges called Camelback Mountain. Uh, there's mountain ranges. It's all the way around. South of it, you got the Santan Mountains. You got South Mountain. You got over towards the east side of the valley. You got the Superstition Mountains. You got Sycamore Creek area, which has mountains. Four Peaks areas. That's right out that way. You come around north, and there's just mountain ranges after mountain ranges after mountain ranges with a desert down in the valley of it. Now, I ran all these mountain ranges and all that desert, uh, either in on dirt bikes or in 4-wheel drive trucks. Spent a lot of time out there going through caves and old mine shafts. About every, even, I mean, we found so many hieroglyphics, folks. We were on Indian land at one time before we knew it was Indian land, and then we would go get permission from the chiefs or whoever could give us permission to be on the land after that, and then that's when we were allowed to go through the mines, caves, and stuff. And if anything we found was on their land, we automatically give it to the chief, and if he uh, let's put it like this: 99% of the time, we didn't get to keep anything. But he did. A couple of them did leave us, and I have a few pieces myself, even today, that I was allowed to have. Some of it was found that weren't. It wasn't even on Indian land, but people, all these mine shafts and these caves out there, there's water in them. Now I'm talking about, I'm not even going to go very far from the valley. You go out to the southeastern end of it, the Queen Creek area of the valley, which is now a big city. When I lived there, it wasn't big city; it was country, small city. Matter of fact, there was even a training ground for the Air Force base that was there in Phoenix. I can't remember the name of it, but they had a practice range where the F-16s and the Cobras and the Blackhawks and stuff would practice bombing and shooting their weapons and shit. That wasn't very far. We used to hear that stuff going off all the time, explosions and shit. But there's a Santan Mountain Range there that's got a mine shaft that's up about it's now where I lived on the desert. I was at sea level. Right behind my house was a mountain range called Santan Mountains. Well, up on that mountain range, it had to go up, I would say, at least 3,000 to 4,000 feet. Maybe, let's say 2,500 to 3,500 foot high mountain range through there. It was a smaller mountain range, but it was nevertheless a mountain range. It was actually, a lot of it was state park at this time. But we were allowed to go four-wheeling and stuff back through there. And there was a big mine shaft up at the top of one of the highest points of that mountain range. There was a mine shaft. It was a copper mine. Now, I had vehicles that I could get all the way up there, and all the way up to the mine entrance. And it was, people, I wish you could have been there. It was some steep shit, but I had some good off-road equipment. They would go just about anywhere I wanted to go, and I wasn't scared to drive it up it. And drive it down. Coming down is just as hard as going up, believe me. But if you got the right gearing and granny gear and shit, yeah, you can get out and walk next to your truck as it's going down the mountain. Anyway, this mine shaft, and I went back in it many times and took many people up to the entrance, because it was a hard climb even walking. It was so straight up and down to get up to the entrance of this mine shaft. And I'd take them up there and walk them back into the mine. You would walk back in there probably 75 to 100 yards just to reach the shaft. Just to reach the shaft. And it went on past that back in this mountain range. That's how big a mountain this was. And like I said, 2,500 to at least 3,500 foot high. Well, when you got to that main shaft, people, there was water all the way up to the top of the main shaft, but about the last 25, 30 feet. Water. Now, they claim there ain't no water in the desert. They claim this mine shaft, the shaft itself only went down 100 feet. And it's probably 80% towards the top of the mountain. The shaft, or the actual mine coming in to the shaft, was probably at least the 80% height of the mountain, 2,500 to 3,500 feet at the top. They said they only went down 100 feet in that shaft and hit water that flooded it all the way back up to 30 feet from the top. They say there's no water in the desert. In that area, folks, no matter where you go, especially in that part in Arizona, where the saguaro cactus are, as long as there's a saguaro cactus there, you can cut a chunk of that off, suck the water out of it, and keep doing. You ain't gonna eat a whole cactus sucking water out of it. You'll suck enough water and a few, probably at least 10, 15 bites to get your belly full. There's other cactus that you can suck water out of. There's water everywhere out there. These golf courses in that area, Phoenix area, look it up, folks. They got damn golf course, and there's probably even more been put in since I left there 20 years ago. Big professional golf courses and shit. All of them have green grass. Well, you don't grow green grass in desert without costing you a lot of money. Now, we had a corner lot one time, me and my wife, and it wasn't a huge lot, but I had quite a bit of area, especially coming around the front of my house. It was a long house, and then short on the side where the garage and stuff was. But it had a desert landscaping. I said, nah, I'm done. I want grass. I tilled that doggone thing up. I did everything, seeded it, got that grass, kept it good and wet, got grass growing to where I had to cut it. Looked like a golf course. My water bill was $350 a month to keep grass in that freaking front yard. I paid it a few times. And I looked at my wife and said, guess what? We're going back to desert. We helped people in the desert. We had an electric bill that was over $500 a month, and hell, we had an average of 118 most of the freaking year. So you was always running the air conditioner. Hell, I already had a $500 damn or more electric bill. Now I had a $350 water bill to pay to keep grass in my yard. Well, they tell us this bullshit on why they can keep their. It'd be raining, folks, and it didn't rain a lot. It'd be raining. You drive by the golf course, and they were still pumping. Their sprinkler systems and shit were still on, watering the grass. But then they're telling us, oh, there's a drought. Everybody, it's against the law for you to wash your cars out in your front yard anymore. There's a water drought. But the golf courses, oh no, they would always had plenty of water. But they come up with this damn story and tell us, oh well, all these golf courses now, they gutted the whole area, cleaned everything, dug deep down into the ground before they ever put these golf courses in, and they built these big water storage tanks underground, underneath wherever the green grass would be. And these, all the water that they use, that they spray on to the course, all drains back down into the ground, refills these tanks, so they're just reusing the same water. This is the bullshit they told all of us. And a lot of these people believed it. I kept looking at it going, yeah, right. I know this property here that you built this golf course on. I've been riding it for a long time, driving through it. You didn't change a whole lot of it. Yeah, you did do move some sand around. but they mainly put in trees and grass and then claim they tore it all out, put a tank underground that it would hold, that all this water would re-drain down through, and that they just keep reusing the same old water. Now out there, we'd have downpours, folks. Downpours like you wouldn't believe. Well, they'd have to open up the dams. They had 3 dams, Roosevelt Canyon and Saguaro Lake dams, to dam up all the water that was coming to the valley. That's how they supposedly supplied it with electricity and water and all this shit. They had 3 dams. There's a river called Salt River that runs right through downtown Phoenix. Well, they cut that off so that they can build shit on that land and stuff, sell people houses on that land. Well, Salt River is a natural river. Just because they dam it up don't mean that water will never flow down through there again. Well, you get one of these big downpours for about 2 or 3 hours, and there ain't no dirt, anything like that for the water to soak into. Everything is flooded, folks, flooded. They have to release the dams, which opens up Salt River, which takes out every house that they sold on it, the bridges that they've built trying to cross it. I mean, it's been a joke watching that shit over the years. And then people, well, our house just went down the river. Well, they sold you a fucking piece of river property, and it was the bottom of the river that they sold you. And you thought the river would never come back. This is how stupid some people are, folks. They even had to put out signs when these rivers open back up. If you drive into the water and we have to come and get you and save you because you just drove into this river, you're going to be charged every penny for every helicopter, fireman, ambulance, everybody. You're going to be charged for every penny it costs to come and save you. Because these people, river floating by, and because the road that they normally drive on runs underneath that river now, they think they can just drive on across it. It's blown my mind, folks. They claim there's no water in the desert. People, they're cutting the water supply off. Do you guys not understand that all that snow that's up in Alaska and Canada and everything that's north of our country, almost east and west, every bit of it's covered in snow at times. All that water's got to go somewhere, and it all runs down. So as it's running down, it's coming into the United States. This is where they've taken control of it. Where are they sending it? I have no clue. But they are sending it somewhere. That water is what they're droughting you out on. The water is still out there. I can take you to over 1,500 foot in the air off of the valley and show you 100 foot of water that's in a mountain, a shaft, to prove it. There's something I learned, and it took me, folks, to just a few years ago to understand this. And I don't know if you'll know this or not. But in the Bible, before the flood of Noah, rain did not fall from the sky. No water on this earth came from the sky. It came from the earth, from underneath. It would come up in a fog form and go across valleys and stuff, but all the water that watered all the trees, the plants, the people, the animals, all that water come from underneath until the flood of Noah. When that happened, and it says in the Bible that God opened up the windows of heaven, and water came from everywhere, the sky, underneath, everywhere. And the reason we now see a rainbow in the sky that they never saw before the flood of Noah was what it says in the Bible is the promise from God never to flood the earth again. That's what that's all about, folks. And there's never been a preacher, anybody that's ever studied the Bible in any way, shape, or form. And I have an uncle that has been a preacher of a Church of Christ church down in Jacksboro, Tennessee, all my life, I think. If he wasn't a preacher when I was younger, he was at least a part of the church, and he became a preacher later. Never mentioned this to me. The man that baptized me never talked about this. I've never heard it talked about in any church sermon. Never heard anybody talk about it. I don't even know what the day I was thinking about this and looked into it, what I was even thinking about that brought me to that. But I would say that's something that is important as anything Jesus said. Because when you look at a man like Noah, and he's being told by God, I'm going to make it rain from the sky, I'm going to make it, water's going to come out, I'm going to flood the earth, and I'm going to kill everybody, everything. And Noah's never in his life saw water fall from the sky. Never in his life saw that happen. But God's telling him it's going to happen. And then he builds this boat, 100 years building this boat, being told it's going to rain from the sky, water's going to come from the sky. He believed it. And then when it happened, it must have blown his mind, even though he already knew it was going to happen. But to see it for the first time, as old as he was, to see for the first time something he's never seen in his life, something God's been telling him was going to happen. I think that's a very important story to tell. And why I've never heard that before, I don't know. Have you guys heard of that? Well, guys, I love you. God loves you more. Look at what he's done for us. If you haven't found him, I pray that you seek Jesus' path in order to be anointed by God after you're reborn with the Holy Spirit. You need those things to make it to heaven. Don't believe everything you're being told. The food's not there because of them. The medical field's screwed up because of them. The water's going to be cut off because of them. The power will probably be cut off because of them. Your phones will be cut off because of them. It's not because of any other reason. It's not because of global warming. It's not what they're telling you. None of them can be trusted. Seek God. Seek God. And he will show you. Love you guys. So does God. Till the next one.